Okay, I'm back, and what I got here today is I got something that fell into my hands for nothing. It's an Echo Hedge Trimmer. It's an HC-160, and I think the reason they tossed it is because the handle's broken. You can see where they've taped it up here. So I pulled it over a couple times. I think it's got spark. It just doesn't want to run, so it probably has got something to do with the carburetor being gummed up. Look, there's some gas in it, so that's usually never a good sign if someone's left gas in it. So it's probably a combination of the broken handle and the carburetor is gummed up, and maybe there's a good trimmer here. So anyway, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see how bad that handle is there. Yeah, good old duct tape. Maybe this was red greens. Maybe red green had the whole of this at one point. Okay, it looks like it's just broken here. It's broken on the other side too, so it was over there and then here now too, so it's going to take a bit of fixing for sure. You can see why red green taped it up so much. Gas out of there. Oh yeah, the gas doesn't look great. Kind of brown and weird looking. I think that's the biggest problem with small engines, is people don't drain the gas out of them, and it gums up and it fouls the works, and then they can't get it started and they throw it away. Okay, just by adding 3 zip ties to that, actually it's not bad. So I got a little super glue here. I see these cracks are open enough to put a little dab in there. Just a little dab, a little touch. Probably end up sticking all my fingers together before I'm done here. That Gorilla Glue actually seems like it's working quite well. I mean, you know, there's not much tension on it right now, but I've been able to lock some of those together with it. Okay, I went and looked in the catacombs, and it's another storage place I have here, and all kinds of stuff in there, and I got this piece of aluminum I think might work better. Like that. And then like that. That'll go to there. Okay, so I took out those 2 bolts there, and there's this little plate, and that's the exact width of the spacing on the holes. So I'm just gonna center that on my line and drill my holes here. Okay, so I've got the plate on there, and I've got I couldn't find 2 bolts the same head, but they thread through there. And actually what they do, I wasn't worried too much about the actual thread in that piece of aluminum right there, because they go right through, and I can put a nut on the other side. That's the inside piece. A little like that. So just a 50-50 mix of this epoxy on here. Pretty good stuff, actually. This epoxy. And we'll mix that well. And bead back like that. I don't know if I've got enough. I might not have enough. Okay. Over there. Alright, let's see here. Uh-oh. Get it over there. Nothing like working on a set of sawhorses when you could be working on a bench somewhere. But that's not the path I chose today. that, like that. I'm going to put a couple of zip ties down on this end. There. That's squishing it right down into the epoxy. That's good. Nut goes down there. That's 5/16. We'll snug that. And I could have cut it off, and I could still cut it off. It's not in the way there though. I had a little bit extra epoxy, so I went hog wild and filled some cracks and stuff along here. But you can see the plane of where that goes. It touches the engine there. Bolted there, epoxied all along. And I mean, I could change the color of those zip ties. And I sort of ran out of epoxy over here, but that's going to harden and I can do a little more. And you know, it's this is sort of like the last of it, right? If you know, if this breaks, I'll give it back to red green. But you know, he had a good go of it, and his tape lasted for quite a long time. But then you know, he threw it in the trash, and then I came along. So I mean, you know, even red green throws things out once in a while. Anyway, that's how it looks. It's really strong. It's really improved it considerably. So anyway, they had old gas in it, so I poured that out, and it starts, but you know, it'll idle. But if you try and give it any throttle, it'll quit. Okay, now there's a couple of things that can cause that to happen, bogging down when you give it throttle. Now, since we had old gas in it, it's most likely something to do with the carburetor. It's got, you know, gummed up gas in there, and that could be very well the cause of it. But there's another thing that people often overlook with small engines when they bog down under throttle is the exhaust. Now, either the exhaust can be plugged, or there's a screen in here, a spark arrestor screen, that can be plugged. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take this cowling off to the muffler, and we're also going to check the spark arrestor screen. Okay, so there's 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, we'll set that aside. And there's a bolt right here on the side. There's another bolt right here. Okay. Okay, there's a little shield here that fills the end of it. It's just held in by one screw, like that, and lift it. Look at that. Okay. All right. So there's the cover. Okay, now we can take a look at this spark arrestor. And let's see what that spark arrestor looks like. All right. Okay, so it doesn't look too bad, actually. There's the screen here, and you can see the screen looks okay. Okay. And that screen. Yeah, actually, the screen looks pretty good. That's not bad at all. All right, but that can be a problem if it bogs down. That can be a problem. It can hold the engine back. But it looks like the muffler is clear. I don't think I'm going to take it right off the block. I think it's fine. I don't have a gasket for it anyway. I'd have to make a gasket, so I think it's fine. I can hear it breathing through that hole. All right, that was worth checking though, nonetheless. All right, so it's probably the carburetor then. We'll go over and I think because we have another one, we're going to just swap that carburetor off it. I'll just clean that off a little bit. I'll just wipe it off a little bit here. Just tipped it down like that. Okay. There it is. Just while I'm in here, I was thinking to check the gap on the coil and see when that comes around. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's passing there real close. I didn't put a feeler gauge in there, but it hasn't been disturbed, and it's not outrageous. So I think we'll just leave that the way it is. And the rewind looks like it's in good shape. There's one thing I noticed on this one. This rewind just has 2 tabs on it. And the pawl is down in here in this little cup. Seems to work good. Another thing is, this is your vent for your fuel tank. You should check that and make sure it's not plugged up. Probably isn't, but if your fuel tank doesn't vent properly, it can prevent the saw from accelerating as well. So we can just look at the hose, and it should have free passage of air. I can feel it there, yeah. Let me just blow through it here. Yeah, okay. So that's just another thing to think about, is the vent for the tank. They don't all have one like that, but sometimes they vent through the cap. This hose is kind of weird on the end. You can tear it really easily. So what I've done is I've taken out the grommet from the tank, and I have another piece of fuel hose here that fits nice and snug in the grommet. And I measured it, and it's 1.5 inches. That's how long the other one was. So we'll cut that off at 1.5 inches. There, and then we'll just swap this onto here and put that in the tank. Okay, just gonna put a little drop of oil on it. Just a little oil. Drop it in there. And then I'll squeeze that into the tank. Let's see if we can push that in gently. There, oh, almost. There we go. Okay. And that just sits up inside the cover here. You can see there's a little spot on the cover for that vent to just sit up there. It just protects it. So, all right, so ready to go. And we'll put that on there. Okay, that's back together. Now, it's rolling over easy because there's no spark plug in it. All right, let's change that carburetor. Actually, there's a number of things that can make your small engine bogged down. It can be a clogged air filter. It can be a blocked vent. It can be the spark arrestor screen is blocked up. It can be low compression. It can be a foul spark plug. It can be the carburetor is gummed up or maladjusted. So there's a number of things. This just points out a couple of them. But I thought we'd check that spark arrestor screen just as a maybe. But all right, so a couple of screws here. Now there's this particular model has this Echo here has a cable. This is from your trigger over here, and so there's a way to release that here. Okay, with that off, we've got 2 hoses. We got the little black one goes to the top here, and the other one goes to here. All right, so let's just take those off. That one. It's always good to note if they come off the top or the bottom. Okay, well, it came out of the tank. That's just as good for now. Now, we got to get that throttle cable out of there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to advance this. See, that screw should turn a little bit as we're moving it. See the cable moving in there? So we got to get that to turn back so we can let the cable out. So get a flat screwdriver here. See, this should turn a bit. See, that turns freely. So all it has to do is turn open to that slot there. You see that? So when we turn this over, move the throttle open, turn this back. It almost helps to have a helper with this, and then you can pull that cable through. Let me see here. Pull it over like that. Yeah, just pull it over. We'll turn that back so it lines up with here, and that little stop on the cable will pop out and the cable will come out of that slot. And it's stuck a little bit, so I'm going to put a little drop of oil on there to help us. And I think we almost got it. There it is. It teased it out of there. And there's the end of it. See the end? Just pops up out of there. That releases. Just hold it, and that pulls right out of there like that. There's your old assembly. Now let's compare it to the new one. You know you got a good brand when you've got a Yafmu. Anyway, they're making all kinds of aftermarket carburetors, and you know, I'm grateful that they're so cheap, you know. I mean, they're like this whole thing, this kit, everything you see in this bag was about $20. Okay, it comes with some little brushes, it comes with a filter, some fuel hose, it comes with a new grommet that goes into the fuel tank, a couple of fuel lines, filter for the gas, and a spare one, a priming bulb, a spark plug, a gasket. I mean, for 20 bucks plus the carburetor. I mean, how can you go wrong, right? I mean, people like to knock the Chinese made stuff, but I mean, it's a pretty good bargain, right? Look at this, the whole carburetor, even with this brass attachment. All right, let's compare side by side, old and new. That looks the same. All right. Now we have an isolator here that doesn't come in the kit, so we're going to reuse the isolator. And we're not going to take it off the block either. We'll just clean it up, and we've got a gasket for there. So it comes with that new gasket in the bag. So, all right. Okay, what we can do first actually is let's hook this cable up while we still have it out. All right, so push this through here. We're going to turn this around right now. Get my needle nose pliers. Grab it like that. Now, should be able to turn that screw. Let's see here. Line up that screw with the cable. So that's how it wants to go through like that. So let me see. Maybe we just pull a little slack in the cable. There we go. Pull it up, and then let me see here. And then we'll sit that in that groove if we can. Let me see here. Okay, and then yeah, that cable, that hole in the little screw seems to be a bit smaller, or this is a little bigger, just a tiny bit. So I'm just gonna dress this up a bit. It might have been burred or something. So let's see if we can get that to fit in there, because it's supposed to bury itself right in that little brass screw, not stick out on the other side. Let's see here, flat side. Is that concave both sides? It might be. All right, let's try that again. All right, you can see here, see this is bigger, it's bigger on one side than the other. This has got a little spot for that end of the cable to go. Just patience. You gotta be a doctor. You gotta have patience. You gotta be a doctor with this stuff. There, turn it a bit. And put the cable in there right now. Cable down. Okay. Cable down. Now, let's see if we can pull that cable back. It doesn't seem to want to go in that hole, does it? Let's see. It's moving it, but that little cylinder has got to be buried inside the screw. So, let's see here if we can turn it a bit. Bring it out. Let's see. There it is. Okay. There. I just pushed that little barrel down inside the bolt. That gasket looks very close to the other one. Yeah, and it goes like that. So this way down. All right, put it there. Always pays to check, because sometimes there's a, you know, a passage can be blocked if you've got the wrong gasket. All right, through the gasket. hole. On the other side of the gasket. Let me see, we'll get the other bolt in there too. Okay, so in this kit comes a grommet, and it actually has a vent here, like similar to the other one we have. But I guess this is sort of a generic, it fits different models. But here's the fuel pickup and the hose, and there's your return hose coming off the carburetor. And it's got this little vent on it, so I think I'm just going to leave it, because otherwise it would mean I'd have to plug one of the holes, because this one's only got two. So I just pull this out of the tank here. It looks a bit smaller anyway. Oh, let me see here. So here's the one that was in it. That rubber just is all disintegrated. Look at that. Some condition of the fuel maybe. Look at that. Wow, that's really bad. All right, let's get our new one in there. So if that'll fit through the hole, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, that'll go in there. Okay, it's in there. Give it a little push. I don't know if that will go in there or not. I don't know. Yeah. It's in on the top, but not on the bottom. Let's turn it around here. Oh, I can see it up there like that. Let's try. Let's see if we can get that in there without hurting it. That's going a little bit. That's going almost. Yeah, I don't know. Not quite the same size. Oh, look at that. It's going. It is going. Look at that. Oh. That might be okay. Okay, so if we look at our old carburetor, this bottom hose was the return line, and here was the suction on the top here. Okay, so the one from the filter, the pickup in the tank, goes to the top. I didn't like that hose, the way it was fitting on there, so I had this other stuff that came with the kit. So I was going to change it. All right, so that's just the return hose. So I think it'll be okay if they leave the other ones in there. So that'll just go in there like that. And we'll squeeze that grommet back in there. Okay, so the grommet's in there, and what I did was I changed the return line because I couldn't get it on the carburetor. Somehow it just didn't fit. So I had some other line, so I used that for the return. This is the suction line from the filter down in the tank. And that little vent, similar to the one that's on the back of the machine here, built in. This one comes with it, and like I say, I decided to leave it in there, and I just tucked it up, because this is normally sitting upright. So this is the top. So I put it up near the top. If the gas tank's full, it's not just going to drain out of there. So I left it like that. So this is tightened down. That's all hooked up. Gas cap on. I put the spark plug back in. Okay. And then this kit came with a new air filter. Just a comment here on the choke. I thought it was a really ingenious little choke they've got on this thing. Look at this. It's just a piece of plastic right there. See that? So this is off. That's full choke. So the little piece of plastic just runs in and blocks off the entrance, and or partially does that. And yeah, I thought it was a really ingenious choke. You know, very simple. Usually it's a throttle plate that turns, you know, and blocks the entrance to the carburetor. But that is simple and effective. Look at that. Okay, so new air filter comes with this kit. So we're going to put that on there. As comparison, there's the old one. All right, and then here's our cover. So we'll put that on. So we'll put the cover on. And all right, so we're ready for some fresh mixed fuel. And we'll try this thing and see if we've got it fixed. Okay, so a lot of people look at these and don't think that there's a mixture screw adjustment on here, or an idle mixture, and there are. The low speed is under this little cap here in the center of this spindle. Believe it or not, it's down under there. And the high speed one is right here, and there's a little cap over that too. So there's your high, and your lows down under there if you have to adjust them at all. Okay, let's hope that the one that we've installed is set from the factory and we don't have to adjust it. We'll see. let's prime it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's starting to come up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, the bulb's coming up full. Okay, let's try that. Choke on. Anyway, that's fixed. The handle's fixed. The carburetor's been changed. We checked the spark arrestor, made sure that screen was clear, and everything else checks out and it runs well. No adjustments needed right out of the box. And that's how I did that. So hopefully this has helped somebody. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up for this kind of content if you like this kind of thing. And hopefully we'll see you again here next week on Everyday Projects. Bye for now.